Shut up before I slap you in the tit, George. I don't have a tit, Lucas.
What a marvelous place to start recording.
Every single time. Every single time.
No regrets.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Also, we've already found a bug in Stardew multiplayer, which we don't know exactly why it started here and now, but I can no longer sell crops directly to Pierre. The game crashes when I do.
Mm-hmm. And if he does so, I crash at the end of the day before it loads the next day.
Yeah, there's no effect to him at the time, but it curses him.
It will consist. It marks me for death.
Yeah, that's a good one. A Junimo comes into your house while you're sleeping and splits your throat.
Jesus. Oh. Are we ready to begin, gentlemen?
I'm ready. I'm pretty for
ready.
I am ready.
I'm ready.
I am Terrence P. Hiddleston the 12th.
You did not get to use the last name Hiddleston.
I realized as I said it. Yeah.
You did not get to use that last name.
I'm shut. Okay, right.
So, last time, the party, after being told by Sam where the slavers were, the party went in the direction of the slavers, was followed, so to speak, Yao Guai that seemed to have some form of intelligence, which obviously George promptly made a friendship with one.
Because he's George.
If we do not meet, if this Yaguai does not, come back to save George's life in a moment of peril, I will be very upset.
The Yao Guai is going to be the reason for your moment of peril.
Oh. Yeah. George saves the Yaguai in a moment of danger.
The Yao Guai is just going through a rough life.
Yeah.
His wife just left him.
Oh, Jesus.
George just shows up at the door with 2 beers and concert tickets.
Concert tickets to a show Vlad is holding.
Oh, God.
He's not playing any of the instruments, mind you.
No, he's
just standing on the stage.
No, it's like a gun cover, but it's only with the quack shot.
Pretty much.
Quack. Quack, quack, quack. Quack, quack, quack.
He cannot fight. His arm would break if he was firing in that fast. He would be out of bullets in 2 verses. Well, that's my show, folks. He's just
He'd get to the vocals and be like, well, that's all I got.
Yep.
Just fucking does the first 2 bars of Darude Sandstorm with the quack shot.
Anyway.
Yes.
After getting to the clearing where the slavers were, George had a heart-to-heart, as I wrote it. A heart-to-heart with the Yao Guai.
How many hearts-to-hearts has George had with random people and things?
3. And counting.
Okay. Yep. And
We're
counting.
not-
Yep.
We're not including Nancy on this?
I think
She's
we
pretty-
are. I think we are.
Yeah,
Are we?
Nancy's one of them.
Okay. Just making sure.
One was, I think, Vlad. Then it was Nancy. Then it was a bear.
Yep. And so, after the bear, specifically the Yao Guai, gave the signal to attack, they attacked. It was over in but an instant.
Oh, yeah.
Well, for most of them.
Most of them, yeah.
Mm.
The other one, the Yao Guai, stomped his arms.
Yep, and then Lucas failed at the one thing he promised George he would do.
Oh, well. It's not like you
He
haven't
has
robbed...
no remorse.
It's not like you haven't robbed Lucas of that shit before.
Have I?
I think you
Yeah.
have.
When?
The colonist.
That was my fault. Let's be honest.
No. Not the fucking dude you punched. The first colonist.
Oh.
I don't...
The one that George popped in the head unceremoniously.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't a formal discussion that time. You didn't
Because you didn't allow it.
George.
You didn't allow it.
That's fine, but you still can't accuse George of stealing your kill if you didn't lay claim to it in the first place.
Oh well, get fucked.
Don't you know?
All right, anyway.
Every kill is Lucas's kill. But anyway, after I put in quotation marks, interrogating the last surviving slaver and determining that there are no other slavers nearby that they know of, George and Nancy rescued the kids, found that 2 of the kids were dead, one of which being one of the surviving kids' brother.
Yep.
And they were able to meet a girl with a collar that said 010 on it.
Yep.
It was fun. And after parting ways with the dead slavers, they were bringing the unconscious children at that point and 010 back to the vertebrates until her eyes went black. She said specifically, I cannot go to another's target. And she just walked off.
Yep.
So we left off with her leaving, and you still on your way back to the vertebrates.
Yep.
Okay.
So I assume you're just going to keep walking?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
I think Nancy...
I want to stop and look at the stars. No, just kidding.
George grabs Nancy with his severed arm and pulls her along with the party.
This seems like a great moment to just take a deep breath and relax and take in the beautiful atmosphere, the radiated and destroyed atmosphere.
I was about to say, no, I'm not so sure about the beauty and wonder there.
Oh. Sorry, continue, John.
Is there anything you want to talk about on the way back? Because you got a good, 5-minute walk.
I'm still holding the kids, right?
Yeah. You're holding both of the unconscious children.
Okay.
Yeah, George no longer has a kid. I will say George does actively just leer at Lucas and not say anything.
Okay.
I flip them off and continue walking.
Alright. After
Nancy sorry.
What?
I was just going to say Nancy seems to be enjoying, just taking care of the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, wait until they're awake, am I right?
Oh boy. Yeah,
no.
one of them is gonna...
One of them.
Yeah.
Well, while they're sleeping, she's just going to enjoy the fact that they're calm and not,
Well, one of them is much more likely to be, freaking the fuck out than the other. The girl, if I recall correctly, was mostly just scared. The boy was in a frenzy. Although George did manage to calm him down. But that will probably not hold.
Yeah.
Well, for clarity, the girl passed out due to just fear overload. And the boy passed out from coming down from his adrenaline high.
Yeah. Didn't George console them both into passing out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just for the record, we only have 2 kids, right?
Yep, yeah. We have Sam back at the Vertibirds, but
right.
currently there are 2
But we
children
only
with
got-
us.
Yeah, we only got 2 children from that save, but hey, we saved kids.
Yep.
Two
So, yeah.
2 of 5.
Well,
2 of 4. One of them was not in danger.
well,
Some of them kind of died no matter what we were going to do.
I was about to say, player to DM, was there anything we could have done to save those other 2 kids?
Not particularly, no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Unless one of you somehow knows necromancy.
George pulls
I
out
want
the
to talk to you about that at some point or another.
Oh, yes.
Truffles summons Bane from another dimension.
I don't know, Matt, do you want that to be a private conversation? Or well, it was me that brought it up.
I'll have it be a private conversation.
Alright. Anyway.
So, after a few minutes of walking back to the vertebrates, Nancy, you're the first one to get there. So, you see that the 2 pilots are just out really half playing, half entertaining Sam. And Vlad is just sitting inside the vertebrate.
Alright.
Okie dokie. She's gonna call over to Vlad. Hey, could you give me a hand?
Without even looking up, Vlad starts clapping.
What are you clapping for?
God damn it. George calls out to Vlad. Get your ass up and get over here.
He sighs, gets up, but once he sees that you're carrying 2 unconscious children, he kind of perks up in his pace a little. Sam at this point does notice that you've come back, and he starts running over to George, who is not too far behind, but just lagged behind a little bit.
Yep.
Because Sam is basically sprinting to get to George. So Sam and Vlad get to their prospective person. Sam gets to Nancy. Sam gets to George, Vlad gets to Nancy. And almost in unison they ask, what happened?
A lot.
George. Oh, yeah, Nancy first.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, George befriended some bears, and apparently they were going to attack the people too. So that was helpful. We brought the slavers with our new bear friends, mostly George's bear friends, but yeah. Fortunately, we didn't get all the kids. 3, I believe. How many of them were already dead, John? There was 3 of them. 2 of them. All right. Oh, right, because the girl left. Yeah. Unfortunately, 2 of them were already gone before we could get there. But we managed to get these 2. She gestures to the boy. This one probably is going to have the roughest time out of the 2. Unfortunately, one of the children was his brother, so that's going to be difficult. But we're going to be here to help him. Also, George had some girl, and she looks over, and she's gone now. Okay, I'm slightly concerned.
We'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay. All right, sounds cool. I didn't know you were listening in on this, but thanks. Didn't know. Okay.
Did Sam hear any of this?
He could have.
Nancy wasn't really whispering.
Yeah. So Vlad and Sam really go through stages of confusion, sullen silence, and just understanding, almost.
I am gonna say George kind of gently hugs Sam, like there really was nothing we could have done for them.
He really just holds into George.
Mm.
Well, thanks for getting who you could.
Nancy kind of turns to Sam. You were the one who told us where they were. Thank you for telling us so we could help them. You were a real trooper today, Sam.
He's just holding George.
And for clarity, as Nancy did say, we did actually save the girl who wore the surgical mask.
Who?
Do you remember her? There was a girl in a green dress.
I don't think there was a girl like that with us.
Maybe she was brought to the group after they left him.
That is actually a good question. That's not super important right now. Either way, there was another kid, but she had to go somewhere else. So
Nancy kind of looks at George curiously, but doesn't press the matter right now.
either way, we have work to do, and gotta go to transport. Ready to go, kid?
Yeah, I guess we're good to go.
I'm gonna say George kind of picks Sam up and puts him on his shoulders, and then gets into the vertibird.
Okay.
You didn't ask for his consent to do that, George.
Yeah, George.
If George had a free arm to slap you, he would.
Is there any particular order you want to get into the vertibirds? Because there's the front one and the back one.
I'm gonna say George got in the back one.
Okay. Vlad's going in the front one.
Nancy's gonna take whichever one has the most room for her and the kids.
That depends on which one Lucas goes in. Because right now they're even.
Okay, well, where do you want me? You know what? No, I was about to say I'll get in the one with Charles, and I remembered. Oh right, Charles abandoned us.
That's a bit harsh, but you know.
I mean, because I don't want to have to argue with Mike, I'm going to sit with you, Nancy.
Well, he said it. I can only get in the one that you're not in because I have the kids.
There's enough room for, realistically, 4 people in one.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
I don't know. I guess I'll go in the one with George.
Alright.
Glad.
Sorry, I disappeared for a moment. My call stopped working, so I just left and came back.
You bitch.
Alright. So it's going to be Nancy, George, and the kids in back.
Alright.
And Vlad and Lucas in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Man, where's Truffles?
Me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Truffles is already back at the Arkwing.
Truffles. Truffles was with the vertibird pilots, and then they turned around and he was gone.
Truffles said something about waypointing.
Yep.
What?
Truffles is now fast traveling.
Truffles used the Bifrost.
You must gather your party before venturing forward.
You cannot fast travel when enemies are nearby.
The only one near him is Vlad.
Yep. Yep.
I guess I'll say that the Truffles is able to squeeze in with Nancy if you want him to.
Yes.
All right.
My boy.
So
My boy
after a quick
Truffles.
checkup of everything, make sure the winches are still good and the oil tanker is still in one piece. It only takes a moment before them to go through the whole pre-flight check and everything, and then they are able to take off. Any conversation you want to have in the air, like on the way back?
Thank you, face.
Well, I mean, Nancy's the one who had actual questions she wanted to ask George.
Yeah. I think she wouldn't be sure if she wanted to ask him now or later, because he did say we'll talk later.
Yeah, true.
So she wasn't sure if it was now was a good time.
Yeah.
So if George wants to talk about it, go for it. Otherwise, she's not going to press him on it.
I will say George does look at Nancy, kind of remembering she had brought it up, and just says, "Don't worry, the girl is very, very safe. We'll talk more about the particulars later."
Sounds like a plan. You know, I have to say, I'm kind of relieved, in a weird way, that, you know, she wasn't with them.
Yeah.
Anything Lucas wants to say to Vlad?
Vlad's just staring blankly into space.
How'd the kid do?
Well,
Wait, Sam in the same vertebrate as me?
No.
no.
Okay. Yeah. How'd the kid do?
Mostly, in the beginning, he was, kind of quiet. Seemed nervous. I guess he just wanted to make sure you were going to come back. But after that, the pilots and I decided to play a few games with him, and he perked up after that.
Good. We'll get him somewhere safe. We'll keep him safe. We got the tankers now, so we can start filling the arc wings soon enough.
Yeah.
How you doing, Vlad?
He takes a moment to look out of the vertebrate, like into the wastes. I'm holding up.
There's something you're thinking about at the moment? Or something that you have been?
How do giraffes have sex?
Okay.
I'm just throwing my hat for the thoughts that go through Vlad's mind.
I'm pretty sure Vlad doesn't understand the concept of a giraffe.
He understands what a duck is.
Yeah, ducks exist.
I've never seen a duck in the Fallout universe.
Also, wooden duck decoys. You can find them in various places.
All right, fair enough.
So he understands ducks are a thing. He just thinks they're wood.
I was just about to say, isn't
Good.
that what he probably just
Good, I
thinks
like
that the
that.
wooden ducks are the ducks.
He thinks to himself for a moment. Can we save everyone?
Probably not, honestly. But we're going to do our damnedest to save as many as we can.
We've already got what essentially amounts to a settlement.
Yep. We need to get out of this area before another attack occurs.
Should we consider setting up like a base somewhere?
I wish George was here.
Well,
Should not.
currently, the best thing we have as a base is the Arkwing. Hopefully down the line, we can set up something a little more permanent. But at the moment, a heavily armored, heavily armed, and well-fortified ship isn't exactly the worst thing we could be holed up in.
Yeah, but it's going to get to the point where we can't take it anymore.
Yep. I think it's getting to that point. We got a lot of people. Food rations aren't going to last forever.
Exactly. I guess we'll have to talk to the others about setting up somewhere.
Yep. In the meantime. Yeah.
You finish yours first, sorry.
In the meantime, I say tonight we have omelets.
Crab omelets. Cromlets.
Cromlets.
I mean, Mirelurk omelets are just a standard thing you could just make.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
I feel like they're not really that uncommon because
This is a Vlad moment.
He wasn't there for you to be scooping up the eggs.
Oh, right.
Because you told him to fuck off and scavenge.
Oh, right. Well, so while we were in that big open hangar room with the tankers, George got some Mirelurk meat that we can turn into food, and I got eggs. I pull out one of the big-ass emu-sized eggs.
Vlad just thinks to himself, you know, if we got a lot of those, we could probably feed people.
There's a couple more in there. It probably wouldn't take much after we get the tankers to send one of the vertebrates over to just get a bunch of eggs.
Well, we'll have to talk to... And he, once again, pauses.
We'll talk to your pop. We'll talk to your pops. We're not talking to your grandfather. Not dealing with that again. He's going to ask for, like, egg drop soup or some shit.
Would he have a concept of egg drop soup?
I don't know. He's a crazy some bitch. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past him to be, like, a scholar of various soups through the ages.
Okay. What did I miss?
A joke about soup.
Okay, then.
Yes,
Carry on.
Soup wasn't enough of a joke in this campaign.
Can I ask your fine gentlemen some soup?
Also, Michael, have you looked at your newly named book of the evening yet?
No, I haven't. Is it spectacular?
Look at it.
All right. I mean, you're taking out part of the fun by telling me that you've changed it. It's like that takes out part of the adventure. All right.
I'll say, after the conversation, Vlad just kind of goes quiet. Oh, actually, he reloads his gun, then goes quiet.
Please make sure weapons are loaded.
The Bimpulum.
The Bimpulum.
All right.
The name of the night.
Jesus Christ. I am the one who pimples.
So, after flying for a good few minutes or so, you do start coming closer and closer to where the Arkwing is. And you see now that where, like, the Arkwing itself, like, originally it was just where the people were, that had walls around them. But now there are walls around the entirety of the Archwing and the people. And there are like little output, like there are 3 layers of walls. Like there are still 3 layers of walls. The outer wall is the most guarded. The inner wall seems to have more of people like just walking around, bringing and gathering supplies, sending them to and from. And the closest wall to the inside seems to mostly just have like artillery striking. Like there are mortars out there.
Mm-hmm.
And the walls themselves seem to look, I hate to say upgraded, but upgraded. So they're no longer like little wooden slabs with slits in the middle. It seems to be a like fully unified and very sturdy wooden wall.
All right.
And the little settlement that has been growing inside of these walls seems to, for the most part, be rebuilding itself. They're building small little huts. And, like, you do see remnants of a general, like, town cooking area. Well, actually, all right, it's better to describe it as, like, a town fire pit.
Mm-hmm.
So just somewhere they can come out and at least grill something or, you know, make food enough for the whole place. Some of them are wearing, like, Brotherhood uniforms, or at the very least, like, Brotherhood padded armor. But, yeah, for the most part, they seem to be doing well.
Right.
And as you're getting closer to the top of the Archwing, the vertibirds do start coming down. You see quite a few people, even a few engineers, gathered around the first tankard. It already seems like there's some welding going on, whether to like reinforce or whatever, but they're looking over at the tankard.
All right.
And,
Okay.
yeah, there are already a few people already starting to gather around where your tanker is going to land.
Good.
Just unceremoniously crush one of them. No one reacts. Look at. It was just Jim.
It was just Jim. He was disposable.
Yeah, so
I just want to point something out. I don't know if this is just mine, but I'm looking at the side of the Fallout, the TTRPG thing, and it says outline, rock credits, inventory, I in parentheses, dogs can hear them. Inventory, perks, inventory, perks, inventory, perks, inventory.
that's just yours.
Okay.
On mine, it just looks normal.
Alright then.
Wait, is this in the outline?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that
What,
just
Michael?
for people who have phones?
No, I'm
Yeah.
looking at it on the laptop.
So, you know how Google Docs has the outline feature?
No.
Oh.
Right, so you
Well-
probably don't have it open. Then, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
relevant.
There's an
then.
outline feature that sometimes pops up if you're looking at it. If you're not, it probably doesn't show. But it's like good if you have chapters.
Chapter 1, rock credits. Alright.
It basically just highlights
Rock
the
credits?
things
Oh,
in
yeah,
big
rock
bold
credits is
words.
still there.
Alright, moving on.
You doof.
So yeah, the vertibirds have landed. They
You hear a slight crunch as it does.
You do not. And you're
Hear the
able to
muffled
get out freely if you want.
I'm gonna say George is gonna kind of march out, and still with Sam on his shoulders. Oh, unless Sam has moved.
Yeah, he didn't move.
Okay. I'm sorry, my internet connection just keeps stopping, apparently. Alright, so yeah, George just kind of wanders into the center of this settlement that appears to be forming. And it's just kind of...
You're on the deck of the Arkwing, where the vertebrates take off and everything.
For some reason, I thought we had parked outside. I don't know why. Let's see, where would... Yeah, you know what? George is going to look... Who currently has the other two kids?
Me.
They're with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nancy's going to ask George, if she may, where should I put the kids?
Well, I was just about to say it might not hurt to take our friends here to the medical bay.
That's a good idea. Let's go to the medical bay. And she puts on her little scarfy disguise and then picks up the kids again.
George watches Nancy do this. Sighs. I forgot about that.
Precautionary measures, my friend. Precautionary measures.
Always
She
wear
just starts
protection.
walking. That really sounded bad out of context.
Oh, that was exactly like George said it. George actually did say it's always sin to use protection. And then George proceeded to march toward the medical bay.
Why are you going to the medical bay?
Because these kids are malnourished.
Oh, see, I was thinking,
living in cages.
no, shut up. I was thinking about your arm.
By the way, while I'm here, do you mind sticking my arm back on? Just use some gauze and elbow grease. That'll work.
Yeah, because that went so well for me last time.
Sounds like I'm a complicated machine. He is also saying this.
Alright, so you're taking the kids to the medical bay, and then presumably you're going to the engineering deck?
George... Yeah, I suppose, the next place George will go is the engineering deck.
Okay. Nancy, are you going to stay with the kids when they're in the medical bay?
Yes.
Okay.
George is also kind of waiting to see if Sam has any objections. To going to the medical bay? Well, like, he's going to the medical bay, but he's also kind of... Like, he's going to stick around and ask Sam if, what Sam wants to do when they get there. After he at least gets looked at.
Okay. I'll say it only takes a short little walk for you to get to the elevator through all of the people, because there are a lot of people. I would like to stress that there are engineers, a few quote-unquote scientists, and
the James kinds.
Mainly just flight pilots and really everyone going through like pre-flight checks to make sure that it's able to make a bunch of journeys to and from the where they need to go. On the elevator ride down, if you want to have a conversation, I doubt you do. You can.
I will say George does kind of look over his shoulder at Sam. So, I am going to go on a little bit of a journey around the ship. If you want, and the doctors don't need to do anything with you, you could come with.
Oh. I was going to stay with them until...
That's fine. That's fine.
Sorry.
No, you're doing a good thing. I'm proud of you.
He kind of smiles and looks away.
It's good that you want to protect your friends.
So, and Nancy, I assume you have the 2 unconscious kids?
Yes.
Okay. Once you get down to the medical bay, almost immediately upon seeing you having 2 unconscious children, some of the medics just come running over. Charles is also down there.
How did he get here ahead of us? Oh, wait, never mind. I'm dumb. I remember. It's been a while.
In like a week.
Yeah.
And he comes running over with a few other medics behind him. What happened here?
Well, we saved these kids from slavers. And she smiles real wide, even though nobody can tell under her scarf.
George kind of looks at Nancy and then looks at Charles. She beat me to it. I was going to say they were having a sale.
Oh my god, George, no. No. Charles, if you could just make sure that these kids are okay, for the most part, that would be great. And if I can, I would like to stick with them just to make sure they're all right.
Charles sighs and motions for two of the medics to take each child. So long as you don't touch anything, you can stay.
I mean,
even
she
if
is
I did,
a medic.
I'm a medic.
Siege?
He looks to George.
Sure.
And then he looks to Nancy. So long as you don't touch anything, you can stay.
I'm a medic. Fine.
And
But if I see you guys doing anything wrong, I'm stepping in.
Charles and the other medics chuckle as they walk away. They are bringing the kids to 2 different beds. Like, one is right next to... Actually, one of the beds is where Nancy was when she was here for, her leg.
The leg thing? Oh, God.
Yeah, the leg thing.
The leg thing.
Just a minor case of losing her leg.
Ooh.
And the other is just right next to that. They lay both of them down and just start going over, just checking the pulse, checking heart rate, just basic medical checkup.
Yep. Alright, so I'm assuming Sam is kind of with them now?
There. Yeah.
Alright. I'm going to say George now kind of tousles Sam's hair with his available arm. And then...
Nancy kind of... Oh, sorry.
That's fine. What was you going to say?
I was going to say, Nancy turns to George, when are you going to get that fixed, by the way?
That's literally the next place I'm going, Nancy.
All right, it better be. I'm watching you.
And George is going to get his arm fixed?
Yep. George does a salute to Sam and then marches off the engineering bay.
Alright. Lucas, what are you doing?
I'm going to take Vlad, or follow Vlad, depending on if he's actively going to Credence right now. But I'm going to take Vlad, and we're going to head over and find Timothy, wherever he may be.
That is where he was going.
Okay, yeah, then I'm staying by him.
Alright. So, once again, wading through the people, you get to the elevator and then you go up to the office.
What bullshittery do I hear from James's room right now?
Right now, nothing.
Okay, cool.
Silence is more frightening than noise.
I'm gonna ask Timothy where he is.
As the doors open, you see Timothy standing there, like looking, like facing in the direction where the bedroom is. He's backing away and shouting, "Would you take it off?"
I was about to ask if he took that thing off. John, do I need to make a sort of endurance check to stave off vomiting from the smell of deceased Deathclaw?
John
Right now?
thinks. Yes. No.
Right now, no.
At some point.
For
Probably.
clarity, if you go closer, maybe.
Okay.
And from the bedroom, you hear, "You know I can't!"
My question is, how did he get into it if he can't get out of it?
I call into his room from where Timothy is. Do you want me to cut you out of it?
No.
You're gonna need like a buzzsaw.
Do you want me to cut you out of it cleanly?
No.
Do you want to get out of it?
He sounds like a child. No.
No. I'm not getting out.
Jesus Christ.
And when it inevitably rots off of your body,
I'll get another.
What is this voice that James has now? Okay.
fine. Please keep that door shut, though.
Oh my god.
I looked at Timothy, and I looked at Vlad. Vlad, you have something to talk to him about?
Vlad's Georgian.
Okay, I'll bring it up. Timothy, Mr. Credence, do you or somehow James have any knowledge of where we're going to be bringing the Arkwing once we get it filled?
That was a point of discussion. For now, we don't know.
Okay.
We are open to suggestions.
Well, preferably anywhere but here. Going north up into the Commonwealth might not be the best idea. I don't think the railroad, is that what it was called? I don't think they're going to be too happy seeing a Brotherhood airship.
If George was there, he would be Georging.
Timothy does look to Lucas. Lucas, when was the last time anyone was happy we arrived?
Fair point. Regardless, I'm fairly certain going to the Commonwealth specifically would be an especially bad idea.
Oh, make no mistake, we're not leaving the Harbor Wastes.
Okay.
We just don't know where to go.
Away from the shoreline, preferably, honestly.
I mean, I don't think we're near the shoreline.
I mean, we
Not
didn't
anymore.
go too far.
You're inland, but you're not too far away.
Yeah.
Especially once the Arkwing is up and running.
I mean, They did send stalkers after the nearby settlements to our current location.
They weren't all nearby.
They were within... The one where Nancy's family was in walking distance.
Well, when George eventually gets in, he'll give his 2 cents. And by that I mean, like, $200, because, oh boy, does he have suggestions.
Timothy looks to Lucas. Do you have an idea?
No, just complaints.
I just need direction. And I'm not one to lead. I'm not one to show direction to those who need it. If I'm given an objective, I'll do my best to complete it.
He nods to himself quietly. Fair enough. Then I guess we just have to either wait or go and find your friend George.
Sounds good. I think I saw him going to the med bay. Do you want to call down there? Or should I walk down?
We might as well walk.
And I lean in a little close to Timothy. You want to get away from that smell, don't you?
He leans in a little closer to you. Get me out of this room.
There's no escaping that smell, he realizes. You can avoid it, but you can't escape the inevitable.
So yeah, correct. But yeah, Tim, apparently there's some really, really boring, lifeless, drab paperwork that needs to be done down in the med bay. So let's go down there.
Paperwork? Jane just bursts out of the room. I love paperwork. He just grabs Lucas by the throat. You hear a squeaky toy noise. Let's go!
He doesn't take the elevator, he just jumps out the window.
He busts through the roof to get there, and he's just like, hey guys, where's the paperwork?
The entire time you just hear Lucas's low, gravelly screaming. Ah!
And Timothy's just like, well, at least he's gone now.
And then he sees the trail of detriment, of like decay. Alright, so yeah.
So, Timothy, Vlad, and Lucas are going down to the med bay.
Yep.
I'll say for how quick it is, by the time George is opening the elevator, that's when they would have gotten down.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, George, as soon as the elevator opens, you see Vlad, Timothy, and Lucas standing there.
Ah! Gang's all here. George wiggles his nub towards Timothy. How about a handshake?
Timothy just looks blankly at you.
You're no fun.
What did you do to your arm?
Dumbass jumped into a pit with about 7 mirelurks.
I didn't jump, I fell.
No, you actively jumped from where you were hanging.
I was either jumping or falling.
Or you could have climbed.
Shut up.
The point is, gentlemen, he's enjoying it way too much.
George did something stupid. That's the point.
George did something badass.
You did something stupid.
Are you going anywhere?
We were going to find you.
Ah, good. Well, I'm going to the engineering bay. George enters the elevator. I'm assuming they're still inside.
Yeah.
And he, with his severed arm, pushes the button for the engineering bay.
You're having too much fun with this gimmick.
Oh yeah, he's legitimately going to be sad when he can no longer do this.
Oh my god.
So, after a moment of riding the elevator in uncomfortable silence,
It's always uncomfortable silence.
the doors open to the engineering deck, and there are less people in there because a lot of them are top deck, but there are still a few engineers here and there.
Mm-hmm.
George. Oh wait, no. The guy who did the melee weapon was in the armory, wasn't he?
Yep.
Can I retcon and say that we went to the armory instead?
You can, yeah.
Because that was where I wanted to go. I forgot that's where.
Specifically to him?
Yep.
Okay.
Specifically to him.
Alright. So,
When we get in there, I immediately want to make a perception check to see where Vincent is and what his mind state is.
You want to read his thoughts.
No, I want, it would be an insight check to see how he's doing.
Oh, great. He's doing great. Never been better.
I'm not gonna dick with him. At least not immediately. I feel like it's inevitable.
So, the doors open to the armory. There are still the same number of people working on munitions and guns here and there. For the sake of it, I'll say Vincent is no longer hurt.
Okay.
He's just walking around.
Oh, God.
Okay. Do I hear him talking at all?
Oh, he's not saying anything. He's just walking around.
I'm gonna kind of wander over and lean against the wall next to the group of guys who helped me out with the specialty ammo.
Okay.
George is going to march over to the melee weapons expert.
Alright. Timothy's probably going to follow George.
Mm-hmm.
Vlad's probably going to stick with Lucas. Either of you want to go first?
Let Lucas go first.
I mean, I'm just observing at the moment. So unless
Okay.
I'm not dicking with him unless he actively engages me first. I'm just gonna observe and watch what happens.
You do see he is looking around at everything. When he heard the elevator doors close, he didn't hear them open, he heard them close. He turns around, scans the room, sees Timothy there, doesn't really give much of a facial expression change. Sees Vlad, doesn't seem to care. When he sees Lucas and George, he scowls and turns away.
Alright. George doesn't even glance at him.
I do a little bit of a whistle, like, and then flip him off.
He pays no attention.
I got a shit-eating grin on my face right now.
George, you're going to the old and grizzled weapons expert?
Yep.
Alright. He's still sitting there.
Howdy, boss. How you doing today?
That's all he does.
Mind if I make a request?
Did you break my stuff?
Well, technically, your stuff is perfectly intact.
He looks at your severed arm, and then looks at where your arm is. He's just waiting.
Well, I was wondering if, since the arm is not currently attached, if you were interested in maybe making some modifications to it before I slap it back on.
What do you have in mind?
I'd just like to make it stronger. That's the main thing. I was thinking power. More durable. I was thinking power armor reinforcement, if that was doable.
He thinks to himself for a minute. You know that's more of an engineer type, right?
True. Well, what would you do?
That depends on the caps, really.
How much does George have? I have a feeling George might be currently broke.
You are rather frivolous with your caps. You have 592 caps.
That's actually a lot more than I expected. I have about 592 plus a satchel of crab meat, so probably quite a lot more than that after I sell it.
Tell you what. You want that reinforced arm?
Mm-hmm.
You give me 100 caps now, and 200 when I'm done.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, George hands it over.
Hands over his arm.
Yeah, hands over his arm and also 100 caps.
Alright. You no longer have George's arm in your inventory.
I believe the correct state is a fucking arm.
Yep, we're removing the fucking arm.
Mm-hmm.
And also 100 caps. And I'll just, for clarity's sake, I'll remove all the caps he's going to wind up giving now.
Okay.
So when the time comes, we'll just say he hands over the rest.
Alright. He looks up to you. Come back in 3 days.
Alright. And George kind of salutes and saunters off. And he specifically looks at Timothy. So, you said you were looking for me?
Well, while not entirely happy about this transaction, Timothy just sighs. Yes, we were considering where to go once the Arkwing is functional again.
George kind of pauses. Seems like he's thinking for a moment. Just goes, do we really feel the need to leave? I mean, getting the Arkwing functional and able to move, that's important. But we've invested quite a lot of work into this place. It already had pre-built fortifications and an entire underground section, which, now that your father's killed the Deathclaw inside it, that's open for use.
He thinks to himself for a minute. and looks over to Lucas and Vlad and motions for them to come over.
I tap Lucas on the arm to make sure he notices and
Tap Lucas. Tap yourself on the arm.
I tap Vlad on the arm.
Okay.
Yeah, I tap Vlad on the arm and just kind of see if he notices and start walking.
All right. He's following behind.
Okay.
As you get closer, Timothy looks to you. Well, George here says we should stay.
Okay.
Do you have any objection?
One eensy teensy tiny minuscule objection.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is, George.
George kind of pauses. Honestly, I'm not sure. The amount of shit that happens to us on a daily basis.
The creatures.
Lucas, George kind of puts his fingers on his temple. I don't think those things give a damn where we are. They attacked essentially every major settlement in the entire harbor waste.
Yes, exactly. So we're not going to be safe. How do we plan to combat them?
By having fortifications, which we already have started to do. Plus, we have, and George kind of leans in close, this place has a massive built-in underground section that we can cordon off. It kind of looks at Lucas. Do you actually have a functional gripe with this plan, or are you just being a Debbie Downer?
More the latter.
It's like, I'm telling you, from a functional standpoint, it's better to take something that already exists and improve it than to start from scratch.
I didn't suggest starting from scratch.
And as it stands, I don't think anywhere in the harbor waste is safe. We sure as hell aren't safe at the Commonwealth, and I don't know what else is out there. So I say, we take what we have and improve it. Plus, George kind of pauses. We've got what looks like the starts of a settlement here. Most of them have already been uprooted once. I'd prefer to keep that to a minimum.
Fair enough.
Well, the only thing I can say about the settlement, it's better we move before they settle in, if we are to move.
George kind of pauses, looks at Timothy, looks at Lucas, kind of glances at Vlad. Well, if we're incorporating them into this, maybe we should get their opinions too.
Very well. If you would like, go around to each of the settlers, ask what they would like to do, and come find me.
Alright. George kind of heads off. He heads toward the elevator.
Is Lucas following?
I have no reason to really be in here. So yeah.
Now you could punch Vincent in the dick.
No, it's unprovoked right now.
I would like to point out, just for clarity, George did not initiate the conflict with Vincent.
Oh, that's fine. Lucas didn't just initiate conflict.
Well,
No, he didn't. He flipped him off. He antagonized him.
oh no, I mean in
Flipped
the
him
past.
off. Oh, that? What did occur?
I mean, technically, George did not throw the first punch.
He threw the first punch emotionally.
He tapped Vincent on the shoulder, and Vincent burst into, if I recall correctly,
No.
with the stun baton.
Vincent to Lucas.
Oh, yeah. Alright, either way, George heads off to the elevator. There's a slight smirk on his face.
So just to clarify, what happened was Vincent and Lucas got into an argument, which turned into Lucas clocking Vincent in the jaw.
There's a bit of time between that. So got into the argument, left, discussed with Credence. If I was to hit him, if he would have given a damn, and he said something along the lines of, "I know nothing," and then I proceeded to the next time when I was in the armory, stealth up behind him with an iron knuckle stuffer and knock him clean the fuck out.
Broke his jaw.
Yep.
And that's why he got all flaily with
No
George.
regrets. No regrets.
What is that noise?
Yeah, what are you playing?
That is my mother's TV.
Break her jaw.
Punch her in the brain. By that I mean post something she'll be disappointed in, which is kind of anything that either of us could post, honestly.
I'll just start posting the monster logo with no comment.
As George and Lucas walk to the elevator, Vlad calls out, I'll catch up with you.
George actively watches Timothy to see if he responds.
Timothy just looks confused at Vlad, but Vlad is looking at George and Lucas.
Oh, wait. Okay, never mind. I thought Vlad was staying with us.
No,
Okay.
he's staying with Timothy.
Okay. Yeah, George salutes to Vlad and continues on his merry way.
Alright. Lucas is still going?
Yeah, I'm heading out.
Alright. So where are you two headed now?
George is headed to the settlement.
Okay. Elevator doors close behind George and Lucas, and there is time for a conversation if you want to have one on the way down.
I will say George kind of gives Lucas the side eye.
I don't know why you're giving me that look. Is my concern for these invisible things not valid?
No, George kind of looks at him. Oh no, that's fine. If I tell you I want to have a word with a slaver, give me the word.
I roll my eyes and shake my head slightly.
George actively now turns to Lucas. If that was an Enclave soldier, and I killed him when you told me you needed to talk to him, would you be mad?
Honestly? No, I wouldn't. Knowing he would have been dead is as much as I needed to know. If that happened to be the scenario.
George kind of looks away. I guess they didn't make you hurt as much then. Now George is silent.
Alright. Is Lucas silent?
When we go to pass a med bay, I stop the elevator and step off.
Catch you later.
Alright. In the med bay, you see the kids are... Both of them are resting. Sam is also resting in another bed right beside this. So all three of them are essentially lined up.
You see Nancy, Charles, Bipples the Wonder Whale, all of our dear friends.
Charles is about. He's just walking around, doesn't have his medical scrubs on, but he is actively kind of getting back into the flow of things. What is Nancy doing?
This whole time she's still been waiting with the kids, just making sure the medics are doing their jobs right, and just waiting for the kids to wake up, I guess.
Alright.
The truffles, of course.
Do you have any reaction when Lucas comes into the med bay?
Sup, nerd?
She kind of greets him with a slight wave.
I nod to her and continue walking towards. Ow! Ow!
So you're just going to Nancy?
Yep. How are they doing?
John, how have they been doing this whole time?
They're throwing you under the bus. I realized what I said. Now that it's so weird.
Overall, through all of the checks and everything that you've seen the Brotherhood medics do, and Charles mainly headed almost everything they did to the children, they seem to be doing fine. A little light on food, but otherwise they're just resting for now due to either fatigue or hunger or just adrenaline.
Hmm.
So overall, physically, they're fine. They can't say anything for their mental state or anything internal right now, but as of right now, there's nothing that makes them worried.
Okay. Nancy turns to Lucas. They should be fine. They just need rest and food, and as far as we know, they'll be okay. Physically, anyway. What have you been up to?
Discussing what's going to be possibly going on in the future.
Have any idea?
Ship ain't moving anytime soon.
Right.
Or rather, we aren't moving anytime soon.
Then why did we get the tankers? Oh, just so we can move later? If we need to?
Probably.
Yeah.
We're setting up shop here. Since they've been
Speaking
building.
of shop, I got to sell some stuff I found at that place. Get some good moolah.
Yep.
She kind of does the silly hand sign.
What, for money?
What hand sign would that be?
Yeah, for money.
Essentially just rubbing
Get that
her
moolah.
rubbing her thumb and
that. Okay.
middle finger together.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Okay.
Also, your boyfriend won't let me touch anything. I mean, not that
honestly,
I was going to.
I don't blame him. I don't mean to sound like a dick, even though I usually do, but I don't blame him.
I think I see what you mean. Bleh.
Is Charlie nearby? Is he like next to us, or is he doing his own thing right now?
He's doing his own thing, but if you want to call him over, he'll probably hear you.
I'm gonna walk over to him. Nancy, if you want to follow, I'm not gonna stop you, but I'm gonna walk over to him.
Nancy's gonna stick with the kids still.
Okay. So yeah, I head over to Charles, and I try and catch his attention. So, She says that mentally is kind of the caveat right now with the kids.
For clarity, would Nancy have told Charles what they went through?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything that they went through as far as she knows.
Yeah. Charles looks to Lucas. He turns around from what he was doing and sighs. Well, one of them lost their brother.
Yes.
The other seems to have been terrified at the slightest movement or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to be fine when they wake up.
Well, maybe we can get good old Uncle George in here, seeing as he was one of the. Him and Nancy were the two that were actually dealing with them when we found them. Might be a good thing to have him be one of the first people they see when they awake.
Well, we don't know when they're going to wake up. It could be minutes. It could be...
I felt one of my brain cells die just then. Not from you, not from what you're saying, but for some reason, I feel slightly dumber.
Yeah.
Just for an instant.
For clarity, I was muted for a while because I was doing dishes, but I was listening.
Anything else you'd like to talk about?
We're having omelets for dinner, by the way. I'm not letting that go.
Charles looks at you. I'm not eating those.
Why? It's better than MREs.
They're disgusting.
Do you just not like eggs?
I don't like eggs that are the size of my head.
It's like an eat. On second thought, you probably don't know what an emu is.
Probably another thing I don't want to eat.
It's a bird. I'm pretty sure it's dead now, though. I'm like 80% sure all of them are dead.
Or, more likely in my mind, there are rad emus.
No. See.
Remus?
No. See, they wouldn't be. It wouldn't be rad emus. It'd be rad cassowaries.
Oh God, no.
Essentially, miniature T-Rexes.
You go to Fallout Australia.
You mean
just
Mad Max?
Yeah, you see piles of dead death claws, and in the distance, the silhouette of a cassowary the size of a semi-truck.
Big, hulking, scaly, spiny legs. It's okay, fine, whatever. I'm having omelets. You can have crab cakes using crab meat that George grabbed.
Or
you can eat a nasty, horribly tasting, terribly constipating meal out of an MRE.
a lot of those eggs. No, just... He turns around and just is flailing his arms. No!
Fine, more for me. I turn and I walk away.
He walks away clutching like 7 eggs. Mine.
Actually, you know what? Because he's all flustered, I'm gonna smack him on the ass and then walk away.
It's the only way.
He doesn't really give a reaction. All right, George.
Hooray!
Elevator doors open after Lucas steps off, and after a few good seconds of alone time with George. elevator doors open, and you are on the first floor. The ramp is still open, and there are still people coming and going. Mainly going, but some coming.
George just kind of walks through the hangar. He's just kind of looking around. If he sees faces he recognizes, he offers a kind of like wave and then keeps going.
Okay. And you're specifically going towards the settlement?
Yeah.
And for reference, the ramp of the Arkwing is essentially like in front of the settlement communal bonfire.
Alright.
And everything else is built almost in a ring around it.
Alright.
So once you head down the ramp, you're pretty much in the settlement.
George is kind of approach the. For now, George just kind of walks toward the center of it and is still just kind of looking around, just surveying.
Okay. Right now, it's nothing really to look at. There are some rudimentary huts, not really houses at this point. There are huts that are being built. There do seem to be a few mattresses that look like the ones from the barracks in the ship. So it looks like the Brotherhood is helping out here and there where they can, but they're not doing more than they have to.
Are there any huts being actively built that George can see? Like settlers actually working on them?
Right now, there's what time it is. It's actually getting close to dusk now, so they're all gathered around the fire pit right now, all stacking in some wood or some debris, just to get dinner started, as it were. There's no real construction going on right now. You do, however, there is one building up. Like, there's one fully built building. And I need to find what her name was.
Okay. Is this a character I would remember?
Yeah.
Can you give me a description or what we did with them?
Hannah. That's her name.
Oh, Hannah. Hannah has an actual building set up?
Yes, she does. On the, it is a 2-story building. Presumably it was built long before anything else, but as it stands, that appears to be like the heart of the town, because it's directly across from the ramp. And on top, like above the doorway, it says Hannah's Wares in very crafted together letters.
I'll say George kind of approaches her.
She's not outside. She's inside.
Oh. Yeah, he approaches the store, kind of saunters in.
Okay. As you open the door, the two guards that were previously next to her, one of them is standing by the door, just kind of like right next to the door. As soon as it opens, he's like the first face you see. He looks over to you, looks at your missing arm and just nods to you.
Mm.
Inside, the other guard that was there seems to have been turned into a helper of sorts, as he's just kind of carrying boxes. There is a third guard that is standing right next to what you can gather is the cash register. It's just a box, but it's on a counter. Yeah, and from inside, the walls on the left are just lined with rudimentary things. There doesn't seem to be a lot of food inside, but there seems to be a lot of ammo and guns. A lot of melee weapons too. On the right is just the word miscellaneous will tell you what it is.
Right.
So there are a lot of just bits and pieces.
George kind of saunters in, looks around. Is Hannah at the counter?
She is currently walking into the back room with the guy with the box following behind her.
George does kind of call across the room. Wow, we've made some significant improvements.
Once they go through the door, Hannah pops her head back out. Oh, hi!
George waves with his one arm.
Falling on hard times, huh? Yeah, I get that.
I've had worse.
Yeah, I get that.
George kind of nods at the guards, kind of surveys the room one last time, and then heads out for now and heads for the bonfire.
Okay. At this point, they would have gotten it lit, so there is a big roaring fire. You do see a lot of settlers and even some Brotherhood gathering around it. The Brotherhood are mainly just giving out food. Some of the Brotherhood and some of the settlers seem to be, I guess the best way to describe it would be like hunters. Like, they're the ones that leave the walls to try and get something to eat. So, they seem more well off than everyone else. And they're actively not trying to take anything to eat. They're just kind of standing guard.
I'm going to say George kind of approaches more or less the central point of the bonfire. And he is going to reach into his satchel and produce all of the crab meat and lay it on the bonfire.
Okay.
So he's just going to throw all that on there.
Alright. A lot of people do look towards you, considering that is a lot of crab meat.
And this is coming from a person who can't eat.
Yeah. So, a lot of people are looking towards you. Some of the kids in the settlement go to reach for it, but their either respective mother or father just kind of pulls them back with a hushed, "No, that's not for us."
Does George hear any of them say that?
You could probably hear them, because a few kids and a few people do want to get at it, but other people just say no.
George does kind of respond audibly. Well, actually, kind of is.
You've got everyone's attention right now.
George kind of looks over the crowd.
Well, I've come out here tonight to have a word with all of you. I'm George. I'm assuming at least some of you know me, seeing as I'm pretty sure me and my group helped get a lot of you here to begin with. And some of you might know me from Freedom's Hill. He kind of scans the crowd for a response.
There are a few familiar faces from Freedom's Hill. One voice in particular from the back just shouts, "Who are you?"
Is that the ghoul that sold drugs?
No, that's not Harry.
Nope.
Does George know who that is?
We could just say it's someone you've seen around Freedom's Hill.
Alright.
You've never really conversed with him, but
Mm.
he knows you. He's being a dick.
Got it.
Either way, the fact of the matter is, right now, none of us would be alive if it weren't for teamwork and standing up for each other. And right now, well, we're kind of at an impasse. A lot of you have just lost your homes. In fact, more or less all of us have lost our homes. We don't have anywhere to go, nowhere to turn. We've all lost. But we have something here. We have the potential to start again. Just kind of waiting for a response of some kind.
They're all just paying attention to you. No one's really trying to speak out or anything.
What I'm saying here is, I think here and now, I say we start again. In memory of all that was lost. I say we build something that means something. Build a settlement that can hold a candle to what Freedom's Hill was. Who's with me?
Looking through the crowd, you do see a few people, everyone, but you see people just whispering to each other, a few nods. Everyone just mainly talking about staying. And from what you gather, pretty much everyone is okay here. It does help that there is a humongous battleship. But yeah, from what you can gather from the hushed whispers and from the approving nods, a lot of the townspeople are pretty okay with staying.
Birch kind of nods to himself. Just kind of looks over the people, then just kind of stares sort of more into the flame than anything else.
I've always told myself I was a terrible leader. I wasn't meant for it. But looking at all of you, looking at what we've done, what we have here, if you'd have me, I'd like to start to make a change. I think we can be great. I think we can build something to make this life actually worth living again.
You gotta make this settlement great again.
No. Any parallels to that were unintentional, because I'm ad-libbing. And I will say George kind of raises his arm and sort of balls up into a fist in a sort of like I don't know exactly how to describe the pose. But he's basically doing like a sort of triumph thing.
Okay.
It's like, so who's? I'm trying to think what, because I know what I want George to be in essence saying, but it's hard to actually like design the word.
Words are hard, man.
Yes, words are hard.
Especially when you've got about 80 people looking at you.
Yeah. Yeah, George is kind of looking at the fire, and then kind of looks over everybody. So who wants to work with me to make this place? That I'm having a hard time coming up with exactly. You get the gist of. No, you get. I'm assuming you all get the gist of what George is trying to be like. George is trying to take charge. He's trying to like get people, excited and riled up and behind him. My brain is not.
If I may make a suggestion, he could say we could try and make this place our new home, our new family, all that jazz. As a closing statement, I don't know. I'm just trying to help you out here because you're doing great,
real
kid.
Awkward about it.
Am I? Is this awful?
No, this is good. This is good. It's tough, but you're doing good.
Either way, George kind of looks over the people. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, if we want to succeed, if we want to pull through, we need someone at the helm who has the faith of everyone involved. And he kind of lowers his head slightly. Well, I was wondering if you would all be willing to place that faith in me.
Looking over the crowd, a lot of them are smiling at you and nodding. A few of them are clapping for you. And there doesn't really seem to be anyone in opposition.
George kind of nods to himself and just kind of looks over the crowd. Well, I guess we have work to do then. You all enjoy a good meal tonight. Tomorrow I'll be out here to help you get this place going. He kind of looks over the shacks and such. We have room for improvement.
You do get a few chuckles through the crowd from that.
And he kind of lifts his one arm as he says that. I'll do my best.
A few people look like they're reconsidering, but no one says anything.
I'm getting the other arm back, don't worry.
A few people start getting their food and reaching for the delicious, delicious crab meat.
I'm proud of you, John. Yeah. George just kind of backs away slightly and then kind of looks at Hannah's building. You said it was 2 stories?
Mm-hmm.
She using the second story?
You have no idea.
George is gonna go look.
Okay. Alright, so you're going back into Hannah's?
Yep.
Okay. Once again, you open the door, same guard is still standing there.
Yeah.
You don't see Hannah and you don't see the other guard.
You know what Hannah is?
He looks over to you. Yeah, she's in back.
Alright. George kind of heads into the back. He's her employer, so I'm assuming that
he could do that.
So you say, until she pulls a gun on you.
Oh shit.
I strongly doubt she could beat George in a fight, even with one arm.
That's you. When you go back,
See, Michael,
Mm.
it's going to be another case similar to Jacob, where they may appear at base value to be horribly disabled, but in actuality, they're dangerous and should not be fucked with.
Alright. Yeah, George goes into the back.
okay. In back, you see just piles and piles of boxes. All the boxes are kind of labeled. Some of them have pictures of guns. Some of them have pictures of food. Some of them have pictures of water. There is a set of stairs leading upwards, and Hannah and the guard are not here.
Alright, George marches upstairs.
All right. So, upstairs, you see that there is just a big open room. The back room, like the wall facing away from where the bonfire is almost gone. There are it's barely there. There are some bits and pieces of it there, and it looks like she has been using that wall for target practice. There are scorch marks on the floor and the roof, and on the two side walls. And you do see Hannah standing there with a flamethrower, a rocket launcher, and a minigun.
George kind of takes a moment, just absorbs this scene. He does audibly go,
Hannah, holding the flamethrower, faces towards George, and the guard, holding the minigun, faces towards George.
He just kind of looks at them.
Okay. Hannah looks back at you. Hi.
Hi. Well, I was going to ask if you minded if I used this space, but, well, I don't know that there's much of a space to use to begin with anyway.
What do you want it for?
Well, I have a needs for a mayor's office.
You want this to be the mayor's office?
Obviously not in this state.
We're not putting the wall back.
George kind of lowers his head and sighs. That's fine.
You still want it?
Just try not to destroy the room too much. We might need it for something eventually.
She kind of shrugs to herself and then looks back at you. You want to buy something?
Sell me on a product.
She kind of lifts up the flamethrower just a little bit more.
I am not purchasing a flamethrower. George, again, holds up his one arm. Would be a little difficult to use.
What are you talking about? And she lets go with one arm and is still holding it with the other.
Yes, but the trigger mechanism.
You said hold, not use.
Am I going to use it as a blunt weapon? Never mind, don't answer that. George just kind of just kind of nods at the whole scene again, and then just kind of turns back toward the exit. Well, guess I will come up with something else.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, George waves goodbye and then marches out. I will say George heads out. Actually, no. George turns back around. Wait. I have an unconventional request.
What?
Do you have a guitar?
Guitar?
A guitar.
Like, for beating people?
George ponders for a moment. I suppose it could be used for that, but I kind of wanted to play it.
No, we only have the beating kind.
I'll take the beating kind.
Okay. And she very unceremoniously drops the flamethrower and starts running downstairs. You see the guard, as she drops it, have a panicked look and puts down his minigun very, very, very carefully and just immediately starts inspecting the flamethrower.
George kind of looks at the bodyguard. She's somewhat eccentric, huh?
And he shivers a little.
George looks at the guy. We're all like this, you know. The old ones, anyway.
She's paying me. You're not. Go away.
I mean, technically, I paid her to pay you.
He's just looking over the flamethrower.
Yeah, I'd say George kind of follows Hannah downstairs.
Okay. She goes out into the main shop area and is looking through the miscellaneous side of the wall. She keeps picking up different things, looking at it, saying no, hucking it behind her, and continuing on.
Okay.
You see the guard at the door frantically picking up whatever she's throwing.
Okay.
Until she picks something up, turns around to you. Is this what you want? And in her hand, what you notice as is a banjo.
George kind of looks at the banjo. There's a look of disappointment. Do you have anything similar, but not the same?
She takes a look at the banjo, nods to herself, and looks back at the wall and throws the banjo behind her.
We say George tries to catch the banjo. Just because whilst he doesn't want the banjo, he cares enough about the banjo to try and not let it be destroyed.
Roll agility.
Alright. That's a nat 17.
Alright. Seeing what she did previously to everything she picked up, you rush over to where you think she's going to throw it. Once she throws it, you're able to pretty safely catch it. All things considered, it's a banjo in pretty good quality. There are still strings. It's still whole. Nothing's broken. And as you're inspecting the banjo, you hear, I have this! You look up, it is a banjo with no strings.
Never mind, I'll keep this one.
You'll buy that one?
How much for it?
She kind of thinks to herself, and looks at you. How much would you buy it for?
This? 20 caps.
Make it 30, you got a deal.
George tosses her 30 caps.
They clatter across the table. As their caps. It's not an easy thing to just toss someone.
No. Not particularly.
As you toss 30 to her, she tries to catch all of them, but she manages to only catch one. And she flicks it, like she's flipping a coin, catches it, and as she's walking away, she says loud enough for you to hear, "Sucker, I would have gone to 22."
George says nothing, but in his mind thinks, this is a functional instrument. This was probably worth hundreds of caps. Like, if I recall correctly, the guitar owned by the mysterious stranger's son in New Vegas sells for like 5,000 caps or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, it may be a banjo, but it's perfectly functional.
There is room in your inventory, right?
Oh yeah, well, he wasn't carrying his fucking
no longer
arm
has
anymore.
fucking arm on him.
Yeah.
You also don't have the crab meat.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to remove the 32 delicious crab meat. Alright, yeah, I'm going to say George kind of slings the banjo on his back. And then he walks outside. And he kind of looks around for piles of, like, building materials. If there are any around.
Right now, it looks like they've kind of been stuffing all of the building materials under the ramp. So they're not in plain view, but they're still close enough to access when they need it.
I'm going to say George spends the evening kind of gathering the supplies he will need to build a structure.
Okay. I will say, the supplies you need to build even a simple house is practically all of their supplies, like all of their building materials. So if you want to take it, that's fine.
You know what? George will gather the supplies to build the structure. He will find the emptiest plot of land he can, and then he will... Well, I'm assuming this will probably take him most of the evening.
Pretty much.
Because he's doing it with one arm.
And essentially because you don't sleep, you can keep going.
Yeah, so he just spends the entire night gathering these supplies in a relatively empty patch of land.
Alright. We could end it here if you would want.
I'm assuming, Marina, you probably want to?
Yeah, I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, we can call it here.
Otherwise, I might punch a man to death again.
Oh, God. Let's not.
One of the kids
Alright,
wakes
folks.
up. Scared
Oh,
and
no.
clocks them.
No!
Did I turn my camera on?
Nancy be like, he was screaming.
How do I get rid of it? Okay, well, good night. Just leave the call, I suppose, to get rid of it.